What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have several needs that still really kind of stand out. The obvious one, and the one that I think is the biggest kind of pressing need, is a starting 3 and D. Right? Maybe Marcus Smart can be that. Right? If he can knock down the 3 ball with some consistency, maybe he's the guy to fill the role. Many people think that he's going to be the guy to start. Many people want to have him be the guy that starts. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Personally, I've talked about I want Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt to start because I just think Luka, he wants to operate and be kind of aggressive in the first quarter. He kind of uses the first quarters to kind of set the tone the rest of the game. So between him, DeAndre Ayton, and LeBron James, I just think you have enough offense there that is going to be able to generate. The lack of three-point shooting from Jared Vanderbilt and potentially Marcus Smart is not as concerning, right, with Luka, because he is a jump shooter. He likes to shoot over the top. He's not worried about the congestion and traffic in the inside like LeBron James and an Anthony Davis were, right? So I think you'd be fine in that regard. And then, if you need more offense 3 minutes in, you can always just sit Jared Vanderbilt down and put in a Rui or whatever. You can always tinker what you need to accordingly. But, right, hopefully the Lakers resolve the 3 and D spot at some point. I don't think it's necessarily something that they have to do today. Right? Like, going into the season, fine, no worries, okay. But backup center is another kind of question mark. I think is kind of least at the bottom of the list. I just think Jackson Hayes, I think will be able to fill that role. You still have Maxi Kleber. We'll see if they end up trading him or not at some point. But I think Jackson Hayes will be fine in that role. We've also seen him kind of play the starting role during the regular season. I don't like Jackson Hayes as your starter in the playoffs, but during the regular season, I think you're fine. I think you'll be good, right? He'll be able to hold his own and manage games. Hopefully he can be a little better than he was last year, have another year, on the Lakers, full season alongside Luka. Right? And again, the margins between backup centers is very small. Like the difference between a Jokic and a Şengün or something is astronomical, right? It's not even close. Right? But you look at backup centers, the difference between a Nick Richards and a Jackson Hayes is very minimal. It's a lot of it is production and on-court minutes and, opportunity and stuff like that, which I actually think Jackson Hayes could potentially be better because, he has the athleticism, works well off of Luka. We'll see, time will tell. But I think, and then once you get the playoffs, DeAndre Ayton's playing, 35 minutes a night anyway. You're probably playing 8 to 10 minutes a small ball, depending on the matchup. And then Jackson Hayes is probably averaging, 8 to 10 minutes a night, during the postseason. I think you'll be fine, and that would be any backup anyway. So I think you'll be good in that regard. If you can kind of land a guy in the mix of things, right? You go and you put, again, the Portland trade. If you get a Matisse Thybulle and a Robert Williams in the trade, then perfect. Yeah, do it. I'm not saying don't address it, but, I just don't think it's something that you need to go rush out to do. The other kind of need is the bench scoring, right? That's of concern. Now, if you start Marcus Smart and bring Rui off the bench, that could help a lot, right? If Rui can be, a 13-point-a-game guy off the bench, right? Maybe even more, maybe get you 15 a night off the bench, especially if he can kind of, maybe play his natural position of the 4 more, but also be more of a focal point offensively because he is coming off the bench, right? So you're bringing LeBron, sending LeBron to the bench and, an Austin Reeves, and then you're bringing in, a Jake LaRavia and a Rui Hachimura, right? And maybe sliding Marcus Smart to the 2. And now you have kind of those 2 big wings. Right? I also think Jake LaRavia has the potential to kind of help raise the ceiling of the bench for the Lakers. I think having Jake LaRavia and particularly Rui on either wing side, I do think could, again, kind of elevate. Jared Vanderbilt, I think, is going to be playing more kind of the guard position, right? Again, it's just position sake for defense, right? The only reason nowadays you have point guard, shooting guard, outside of point guard and center, all the other things are interchangeable, right? They're all, you have 6'6" guys playing power forward now. It's all interchangeable. It's just, you do still need a guy that can play make and be your facilitator and bring the ball up and all that stuff. And then you need your big man that can help rebound and do those things. So it's not fully positionless, in the big man is kind of making their resurgence, but for the most part, Jared Vanderbilt, I do think will be playing a lot of slotted in at the 2, right? And you'll see lineups of Luka, Vando, Jake LaRavia, Rui Hachimura, and a DeAndre Ayton. I think you'll get kind of that. So Rui going to the bench, I think, could solve a lot, right? And to me, it kind of balances like how, because again, unless they change the starting unit, but all of our defense is on the bench, right? Like, Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, if he can kind of, continue to improve defensively. So you look at this team and it's like heavy offense in the starting unit, heavy defense in the bench unit, right? Couple guys that could maybe trickle in. It's why I think, if you go with Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, you can now have Austin Reaves and Rui off the bench. So now LeBron can go to the bench. You can bring in Rui Hachimura, right? And then, when Luka goes to the bench, bring in Austin Reaves, or even, pull out Marcus Smart, bring in Austin Reaves. Like, you can be creative, but now you get the boost, and you can let Rui and Austin Reaves kind of run their game and be more aggressive on the offensive side coming off the bench. That's why I like the idea. I just don't think that they're going to bring Austin Reaves off the bench. I don't. Rui, problem with bringing Rui off the bench is we have seen him check out before. And that's concerning. Now, maybe the Lakers don't care because it seems like they're going to let him walk. Right? It kind of seems like they're willing to kind of just, because they're not offering him an extension, and he's probably going to get, paid pretty well because he has been really good. Right? And the Lakers want all this cap space and stuff. So they're probably going to let him walk. So if you're the Lakers, do you really care? It's kind of like, hey, and you probably traded him at some point this season. I don't know. But my concern is that Rui we've seen him in the past completely check out. And he's not the same player coming off the bench as he is starting. Now, if he's buying in and embracing that and kind of understands like, hey, we just need better balance now that we got Luka and stuff, and he buys in, then that'd be great, right? But I don't think the bench scoring will be as bad as it was last year, right? Because I do think Jake LaRavia will help a ton. Right? I think Jackson Hayes, when he is in there with Luka, will kind of raise the ceiling off. I think he'll still go get you 10 points a game off the bench, where a good majority last year he was starting, right? So now he's going to be a guy coming off the bench, and I still think he's going to eat and feast during the course of the regular season. Like Gabe Vincent, I think he'll be better because he'll have a full season of health. You kind of saw him start to pick it up towards the end of the season last year. Dalton Connect's a guy that can go get you 30 on any given random night. My problem with Dalton Connect is he kind of seems like he's checked out too. I'm hoping maybe he can kind of get back in and get focused again, and because he could be somebody that's very valuable. So kind of look at the bench, right? And let's say nothing changed, right? And they keep it as is, and it's something, it's Luka, Reaves, Rui, LeBron, and Ayton as your starting five. And then it's like Gabe Vincent, Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, and Jackson Hayes as your backup five, right? And you have Connect trickled in, you have Bronny James trickled in, you have other guys, Kleba trickled in. You have those guys kind of, Adu Thero trickled in, those other four guys. But I could see where, the concerns offensively could maybe trickle in. But if JJ does, because you have so much offense in your starting unit, right? Like, I think the Lakers are going to be the best offense in all of basketball. And it's primarily because of the starting unit, right? I just think Luka is going to give you probably 30 a night. LeBron is still going to give you his 22, 23, right? Because I think he's going to bare minimum be 20 points a night. So he'll be probably 22, 23. DeAndre Ayton, I think, is going to be 15 to 20. I think Austin Reaves is going to be 15 to 20. I think Rui Hachimura probably be, 12 to 13, basically what he was, because he'll be still kind of playing the same role, catch, shoot, three, all that stuff, right? And then it's just like, what will Jake LaRavia come and bring off the bench? Gabe Vincent. Like, so if, say, you get, 6 to 8 points from Jackson Hayes and just his role and just lob threats and stuff. Say you get, 10 points from Jake LaRavia in limited minutes, because it depends on his role. I'm just trying to realistic worst case scenario. So let's say right there, that's 16 points. Gabe Vincent, if he can knock down, give you another 6 points, right? There's 22 points. And then, if Jared Vanderbilt trickles in and gives you a couple points, say he gives you 6 points, right? Now, you're 20, like I can see the Lakers bench giving you, in that maybe 35, best case 40, right? A night type thing, to where now you're, one of the better benches, kind of middle of the pack, but your offense is so heavy in the front. You're very front loaded offensively. And again, what you start with doesn't necessarily have to be what you finish with, right? And sprinkle in throughout the course of the game. like even if the Lakers do start Luka, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, and Ayton, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to play those 5 40 minutes a night together, right? Like, no, you're going to have, you're going to do, especially early on, you want to kind of experiment. You want to, like, how does this look? How does that look? Like, what about this team? What about this unit? How does that, you're going to kind of be creative out there in regards to your lineup and rotation and trying to balance. It's going to be up to JJ to balance the offense with the defense, right? Now, bench-wise, you might look at it like, I wouldn't be shocked, though, like if the Lakers bench is not like super great offensively, but the Lakers, I think, will be really good overall because again, it's like all your defensive pieces. So I think you'll have these like trickle in and these waves of players and whatnot, right? I think you'll have these waves of, hey, here's Luka, Jared Vanderbilt, with, a Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton and LeBron James. And it's just, you have those guys that could switch and be versatile, or like an Adu Thero, right? And just, again, be creative, be switchable, be versatile, do these various things out there. So I'm excited to kind of see how do the Lakers, approach the lineup and rotation. I personally would still like to see Marcus Smart, at least one to, honestly, I would rather have Jared Vanderbilt. Like if it's Marcus Smart or Jared Vanderbilt, I'd rather have Jared Vanderbilt. Because I just think Jared Vanderbilt, he covers more ground. He can defend 1 through 5. He was the most versatile defender in basketball last year. It's just me personally. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.